All right, we're going to go ahead and give this a shot. So we're ready now. Dennis, go ahead.
Okay, Mike, are you controlling that or am I?
Yeah, I've got it.
Okay, perfect. Hey, thank you everyone for joining us. Sorry, I'm traveling myself, and Mike is working from our home office in Yakima, and glad that you could be on the call. We're going to retitle this "Work from Home Remotely Wearing Whatever," but we decided that we would just say "Working from Home Remotely." So, Mike, let's talk about our discussion points that we're going to cover. The next visual will give us an idea of what we're going to go over. These are the bullet points, if you will, that we want to make sure that that you get a handle on. What research tells us, why sell online, fads are here to stay, some success stories we want to share with you, online sales cycle, online sales tools that are needed, what the process is all about, some tips that we've learned over the years, and really how AIM can be a resource for you and how we can help to make sure that you succeed if you decide that you want to go down this road. So, Mike, the next visual gives us a kind of a statistic about the research, which is really interesting to see what's happened over the years as far as how consumers are buying and how they actually shop. And this is according to the IBM Institute. 80% of the 21,000 plus consumers they surveyed used one or more digital interaction points, such as a phone, website, or some form of a screen sharing activity to select their insurance policy. So what we're seeing is that consumers are more and more comfortable with this process of going online and conducting business, not only in things that are consumer-related in the shopping realm of what you would think of, but also in the financial realm, which is quite an interesting and a very convincing statistic. So as we move on into our discussion, we always get asked, why should I do this? What I've been doing is working for me. If it's not broke, why fix it? And we're not suggesting today that selling online or working remotely is something that you have to do 100% of the time. But what we are suggesting is that there is certain reasons why you may want to give consideration. And first and foremost is oftentimes we hear people that say, hey, gee, the leads I'm getting in the state I'm in are really, they're not pulling quite as well. And so one of the things is you have access, when you are working in multiple states, you have access to a larger lead universe. And you may find, and as we have found, that some agents will determine that some of their promotion campaigns are working better in certain states than they would be necessarily in their own home state. As such, there may be some economies that you get created. The other, which is bullet point number 2, the other opportunity is the fact that you can decide what kind of flexibility you want to have in your schedule as far as if you have other commitments that you're trying to balance. Working multiple time zones gives you the flexibility to work, Pacific time zone, Central, or East Coast, depending upon how you want to rotate your schedule. And one of the biggest factors that we hear more and more today is that people just don't want to have to get out and get into the car and have the drive time, especially in some of the larger metropolitan cities where they find it's very difficult to have more than maybe 1 to 2 appointments a day. And oftentimes if there is a no-show or a sudden cancellation, here you are maybe 2 hours removed from your office and you have to adjust. And so in the online world, if the client does not show, there's zero time that's actually wasted. In many cases, you can reschedule and have another appointment that you've actually set up in a backup position. So as we go on and further discuss the online selling, a lot of people wonder, is this a fad, or is this really here to stay? And what we've done is we've surveyed some of our biggest business partners that do business with AIM, specifically to find out what's happening. And in the last 5 years, this is how it's trending. In 2010, we began to see a little bit of acceptance towards this online selling. You can see in 2011, it increased by 30%, 2012, 40%, last year, 62%. And so far, according to some of the surveys that we've conducted coming up on the end of the first quarter, both of 2 significant business partners that we have are trending at 70% of their sales are actually transactions that are taking place online. It's pretty staggering. So this is definitely here to stay. It's something that you may want to consider, as I said, making a part of your success. I'm going to focus on long-term care. As many of you know, long-term care is a core product of ours. It's been the mainstay product for many, many years. But we also want to make sure that you know, as we get into some of the process that's involved, it can take place with other product categories as well. But I wanted to just share with you a couple of very quick success stories and just tell you what the extreme success that some people are having. And of course, you know, I'm painting the picture here that shows you the people who have come into the business. In the first success story, it's a lady that we know who was a housewife who got started in long-term care, specifically because 2 children of hers were going to be going off to college. Her husband was working full-time, and she wanted to augment their income and started selling long-term care. Got licensed, never ever met with anyone face-to-face, only learned how to sell online. And in 2012, in 2012 sales, as you can see, she amassed sales online only of $659,000 in long-term care premium, a phenomenal success. And this is someone who, as I indicated, only does online selling. The second story is the story of a gentleman who was a long-term care specialist that was selling face-to-face, decided that he didn't like putting 50,000 miles a year on his car, the wear and tear, transitioned his business into online selling, actually moved from the Northeast in a city where he was tired of the snow. He moved further south with his family. He couldn't have done that if he was in his former business practice because of his commitment to face-to-face selling. But in the online world, he now lives in a year-round sunny climate and operates remotely. And the third story is a story that Mike knows very well, a gentleman who was a former, and Mike, I don't recall if it was Macy's or Neiman Marcus or which department store that he was the VP of before he got involved in the insurance business. But this gentleman only works one particular state and has been so successful. He's amassed in just a short 3 years $1.3 million of long-term care on the books, and has had some record weeks of selling online, again, 100%. And so whether or not you become one of these truly superstars of the online world, or whether or not you just incorporate this as part of what you do, the fact of the matter is it's working, and it's working very well for these and many others who are selling anywhere from $100,000 to $300,000 a year or more of long-term care premium, all remotely. So let's go on and talk a little bit about what's different about online selling. And so, Mike, if you'll click onto that slide, I want to spend just a minute or so here. Selling insurance today, we've also been part of the consumer's research and sales process. I want to give you an acronym, and if you're taking notes, and we can certainly give you these visuals here from this PowerPoint, I would have you write down the acronym RSVP. Everyone is familiar with RSVP, the French word that is referred to as confirming one's attendance, or another definition would be please respond. And so when we think about RSVP, the R stands for the research. That's what consumers are doing. Consumers want to research on their own. They want to go through and gather the information. The S in the RSVP stands for self-selecting. They're going to self-select who it is that they feel, after they've done that research, can now help them to take them a step closer. The V in the RSVP stands for validate. After they've self-selected and determined who's going to help them and has talked to that individual, they now want to validate in their own mind that this is something that they truly do need. And of course, as in face-to-face selling, we know that validation comes both through logic and it comes through emotion. Sometimes people buy emotionally and they justify logically, but they do have to validate in their mind. And the P is that they'll make a purchase decision. And we have seen that those who are selling online, whether it's a one-call close or a two-call close, or in many cases it may take more than just the one visit, they will make a purchase decision, and they're comfortable with shopping online. They feel confident that they can work with people that they've never met. In some cases, people actually prefer that. We've been told this through some of the through some of those who've been doing this very successfully, that the clients feel more comfortable, in fact. So here's the sales cycle. The sales cycle puts you at the center of this visual, and around you is all the communication tools that are going to help you, whether it's how you procure the leads, how you go through the actual process, and how actually you fulfill on this as far as the ultimate administrative side. So as we go on to the next visual and talk about some of the tools necessary that you're going to need to have, this is something that you're going to want to get a handle on, and this is in essence your virtual briefcase, the toolkit that you're going to need to have. And if you can see this visual on your screen, there's a lot to this, from hard goods as far as what you'll need from a computer standpoint. We were doing a workshop not too long ago in the state of Washington, and there was an online discussion, and I had a gentleman who raised his hand and said he didn't have a computer. Well, if you're going to operate online, obviously you have to have the ability. Yes, you could sell this with the phone, but having a computer will be certainly to your advantage. And in many cases, some people actually set their offices up and they have two monitors because they find that having two monitors allows them to operate more efficiently. And you can see here, as we go down through services, there's some screen sharing services that you can purchase, actually that you can get for free. There are services that are available that have a cost associated with it. So we've given you a couple of references here, Join Me, as well as ScreenLeap. And those are some services that will help you. And what we mean by screen sharing is that you have the ability to have your PowerPoint, like what we're doing with the webinar, where the client or the prospect is seeing what's on your screen at the same time that you're advancing your presentation. And so the screen sharing service is really an important part of the online selling if you want them to have the visualization. And visuals, we know, are an important part of the process of helping people to paint the picture and to see the need. Up in the software area, you can see some of the tools. We mentioned a software service called Stratastation, but Mike reminded me, and I want to draw your attention to the fact that we've got several very important tools. One is a quoting system that works perfectly in the screen sharing that Mike's going to open up and share with us in just a little bit. And the other is our own digital platform of YAIM that you have access to, where we actually have comparison and quoting software that is free, that you don't have to actually go out and purchase, that can help you in the long-term care space. And then in addition, you can see other carrier items and resources. And again, we could spend a lot of time just in this particular section in kind of the hard goods area of what you need to have, but you do need to be able to set up your office and make sure that you have the tools necessary that's going to allow you to be able to operate efficiently. So as we go on and discuss...
Hey, Dennis, hang on for a second. I think we got a question here, so hold on for a second.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay. Somebody's having trouble with the audio, but hopefully by now that's been resolved. And yes, the slides will be available when we conclude the presentation. So, okay, we should be back. Go ahead and keep going.
All right. I'm waiting for that screen to pop back up again.
There we go. Should be there now, and your next screen with the online sales process is there.
Okay, so as we talk about the online sales process in terms of, and again, having the opportunity, we've got a couple categories here. And some of these are going to be things that you're going to want to get your arms around and make sure, again, that you have a comfort level with not only from a lead generation standpoint. We've given you kind of 4 lead generation outlets, if you will: internet leads, direct mail, referrals, and seminars. And I'd like to add a 5th, and that is that some of you might have a book of business of existing clients, and let's say that they happen to be long-term care clients, and now you want to pivot, you want to cross-market into one of the other product categories that you want to work with remotely, such as final expense or critical illness or Medicare supplement. So don't just limit this to the aspect of areas that you have to spend money on. From a lead generation standpoint, you might have a book of business that you can actually begin with, and you can start operating remotely. And the nice thing about working with existing clients remotely is they know you, and they're going to be a little bit more forgiving as you get your arms around this particular process. And some of this is very specific to long-term care that we're giving you, and some of this will be modified as you sell other products online, where maybe there's not as much underwriting or pre-screening that could be involved depending upon the financial product. But we're trying to share with you just kind of tools that you would need to have. And so the pre-appointment, the email confirmation, a lot of this is just the important aspect of making sure that you have each of the touches in place. And selling online and operating remotely, you have to do what you can to give that consumer the experience and the comfort level that that they're going to feel that you're as professional as you can be in terms of your capabilities. And also, there's little things that you're going to want to do to make sure that you're confirming the whole process so that when the time comes for the appointment online, that that appointment is going to stick, if you will. And so consumer PowerPoint presentations, this is where Mike and our team at AIM can help you. We've got them for long-term care. We have them for critical illness. We can help you with MedSup, final expense. Client expectations, you always want to make sure when you go through the process and have that opportunity to have that appointment that you manage people's expectations as to what is going to happen. In the long-term care world, we know there's a lot of touches, such as a phone interview, medical records. The printing business does take some time, and there is a delivery process. So there's lots of the little details that you want to make sure that don't go unchecked. Mike, next visual, please. For some reason, Mike, I don't know if it's just me, but I lost I have a copy of the visuals, but is everyone else, could you just stop and pause and make sure everyone else is seeing the visuals?
Yeah, let me do something here real quick. Hang on for a second. All right, anybody who's not seeing the visuals, click the raised hand button there over on the control panel, and we'll take a look at it. It looks like we are, but I just want to make sure. Okay. All right. Well, you're not seeing them now because I stopped it, but so let's try this again now. Anybody who's not seeing the visuals, raise their hand. Yeah, Dennis, you want to make sure and move your mouse too to make sure your screen didn't totally go blank. And let me check this other question here. Yeah, audio will be available later. Okay, we're good to go, Dennis. Go ahead.
Okay, Mike, on to the online sales tips, if you will. And in that particular slide, again, these are just, we're delineating things that are reminders for you, how you can basically, confirm the email address, steps that you need to follow. And it's really, as they like to say, the devil's in the details. It's in the small details that will help you to succeed in the online selling. And we've given even a little script here at the very bottom that talks about the importance of when you're confirming the appointment call, just to make sure. You don't want to take for granted that you set up these appointments. You might be doing 2 or 3 webinars in the same day, and it's easy to just assume that everything's going to go as planned. And so the day before, it's always good to make sure that you're making the confirmation. So on to the next online sales tips that are continued. Again, this should be conversational. You want to make sure that it's not, you're not just letting the PowerPoint drive the interview process. You want to be very interactive, establishing the rapport, creating the integrity, making sure that you're able to find out what their needs and concerns are. And oftentimes at the very start, you might be very quick just to want to rush through the PowerPoint, and it's good just to pause and to make sure that you're asking the questions and make sure that you're eliminating any distractions before you start, so that you set the stage properly and making sure that you've got their full time and attention. If they're in 2 separate locations where a husband and wife, one's at home and the other is at another location, you want to make sure you've got conferencing on your phone to be able to conference in, so that the screen sharing will enable both of them to see the screen, but the conferencing feature will enable you to make sure that you're having that conversation. So as we talk about the AIM approach, Mike, and some of the things that we can help you with, we've given you, for those who have not done business with AIM, and I know that there's always individuals on these calls who are listening in and maybe looking for a marketing organization that they can hang their hat with. We've been at this for over 35 years. We've kind of put together little 8 reasons why. There's probably a whole lot more than 8, but here's just some of the reasons why people are choosing to work with AIM. We're always on the front end of the leading edge of creating opportunities. We stick to our knitting in terms of core products that we know well. We don't try to be all things to all people. We're very strong in the areas that we put our time and energy into. We can help with a tremendous back office support system with pre-screening, especially with products like long-term care that require a significant amount of hand-holding oftentimes to make sure that you are submitting cases that have a likelihood of actually being approved. We've got a business tracking system that Mike can allude to when he shares some of our digital platform activities. And we also have other digital platforms that will work for you that we want to get into just for a few minutes. So as we talk about the digital platforms to support you, we have a program called the Connected Agent. And the Connected Agent really harmonizes quite nicely with this working remotely from home remotely, because what you need to have first and foremost is you really need to have a digital presence. If you're going to succeed online, those who are succeeding online have everything from not just a website, and it does start with a website. And as we start talking about this Connected Agent program, you'll see that we start by emphasizing that you need to have some form of a platform. Some of you may already have a website, and it may be sufficient for your needs, or you may want to consider what we have developed that is helping a number of our producers to actually advance this process not only online, but actually just to succeed in their normal day in and day out business. And so one of the things that's important is to make sure that your digital platform looks good on all devices. And that's very important to make sure of. And also to make sure that you've got the kind of content that when consumers want to shop and they want to research, that they're going to be able to know that you have a library of information that's going to help them to, again, want to self-select you as the individual that they want to do business with, that they know that there is information that will help them. And we want to be able to be there as a resource to help you drive these campaigns with some of the ways in which you want to market with your lead generation, whether it's through direct mail, whether it's through internet leads, whether or not it's helping you to be more successful with your referrals. So Mike, at this point, what I'd like to do is if we could take just a minute and pull up to show them an actual live example of what that site looks like. If you could pull that up, that would be great.
Here we go right there. This is the demo site that we use for Connected Agent. And we actually get requests for information from this demo site. People run into it when they're looking around and trying to find information about insurance. Over on the west side, as you can see, you've got your choice of the various tabs that you want to have there at the top, so you can structure the site to work with your particular business model. We do have content available for all these different subsections, life insurance, MedSup, long-term care, etc. We've got blogs. We've got all kinds of stuff that we can bring in and make available for you. You can link quoting type engines and those sorts of things to it. A lot of stuff here that allows the process to be what it is that you want it to be about. If you've got more questions, you can go to the connectedagent.biz site that Dennis alluded to a few minutes ago. And you can customize this thing. We'll scoot back to the home page in a second. But you can customize based on color scheme. You can customize based on any number of different things that you want to have that you feel are important for you. They work with you to get you your own domain name. So if you want it to be bobsmithinsurance.com, they'll work with you to try to get that pulled together if somebody doesn't already have it for you, and they'll work to structure the thing so that it works the way that you want it to work. Dennis also talked for a minute about our site, which is whyAIM.com. Okay, this is the site's live right now. This is our page right here. As you can see, or you will see when you go through it, and I would encourage everybody to take a minute and go. We've got a lot of different stuff here that we've made available for agents. We're trying to help agents literally make more money. And we try to make the training, the resources, the types of things Dennis was talking about a few minutes ago, we try to make that all available to you. We've got a lot of information on here with regard to carrier information. We've got our webinar calendar. Within the scope of the dashboard, which you have to have a login to get into, and we're going to take just a quick look there. All right, you're able to go in under the Resources tab on the dashboard, and you're able to look at, there's the webinar calendar, there's customized information that we make available for marketing purposes, flyers, letters, and such. You can get carrier updates, and you can track your business as well as looking at your pending applications. So we've got a lot of ability here to tailor this to be the place that you run your business from. And this can be woven into some of the different things that we have with the Connected Agent program. So anything else you want to cover on that part, Dennis?
No, I think that's great, Mike.
Go ahead.
No, that's perfect.
All right, let me switch back to our live presentation here. Go ahead.
If you get on that slide that says digital platforms to support you, that's kind of what we, actually just go to this visual that has the AIM producer prospecting platform. That kind of summarizes a little bit what Mike was talking about, that on the digital platform itself, you have the ability to create landing pages with your platform that can drive consumers to actually go and request information and to request a quote. So some of this is also important as it relates to your online presence, to make sure that when people want to research and they want to be able to self-select, that they have the ability to go and learn a little bit about you. So in addition, as Mike said, with the digital platform that through the Connected Agent, that gives you also the ability to have your bio, your picture, and when you are preparing for your webinars, you can drive people to your site to actually learn a little bit about you prior to the time that they actually spend with you. And in so doing, they may find themselves navigating around the site looking at some of what you have available. But both the whyAIM tool that is available to you with our digital platform, as well as our quoting software, those are actually all free to you. And just a couple other quick points, Mike, on, we talked about mail and some other things, so we give you a little bit of an idea of what it costs to mail. Then we summarize, telling you about the dashboard, and Mike already went through the last few visuals here, a few visuals that we're touching on, the agent dashboard. And then back, if you would, Mike, to the slide, the whyAIM slide, that kind of puts it in full circle as far as the fact that we've been doing this for 35 years. Products for today's consumers, again, we've lended ourselves more towards this webinar towards the idea of long-term care, but we are having folks who are selling remotely, final expense, selling critical illness, as well as Medicare supplements. And today, with the carriers, in many cases, that have e-app capabilities, it makes it very easy for you to transact electronically. In some cases, you might need to use a fillable app, and in some cases, if you still had to use a paper app where you'd have to actually send it in the mail. But in most cases, we're finding that there is the advanced technology that enables you to do business. So we have the other products and resources. The last visual I wanted to share with you is just the getting started, making sure if you don't have a password to go on to the whyaim.com site, that if you are appointed with AIM, that we can certainly get that to you. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about the Connected Agent Program and how actually to get started with that, we're not really in the business of setting this up to be an ongoing charge. We'd like you to be able to get this business for free if you do business with us, and the agents who are using it are the agents that will be increasing their business. And as long as you're doing just a small amount of business with us each quarter, you can actually have that Connected Agent Program for free. And so with that, I just want to summarize, Mike, and open it up to questions, but maybe just give 4 reminders as to this idea of working from home remotely. And that is, the first, it takes organization. You have to make sure that you've organized yourself in such a way that you've got that virtual briefcase set up, that you have the tools necessary that we talked about. The second is it takes discipline. Some people who have been selling face-to-face kind of like the idea of knowing that they have to get out of the house and get on the road and get to appointments. So it's a whole different discipline when you have to stay at home and avoid some of the distractions that could enable you not to be as focused on what you need to be accomplishing if you find yourself, playing with the kids or deciding to take extended lunches. So it does take a certain amount of discipline. And I would like to say also that the third point is those who've been successful in selling remotely are the ones who practice. And practicing with your existing clients is probably a very good start, because these are people, as I indicated earlier, who know you, they are familiar with you, they're comfortable with you, and they've done business with you. And finally, the fourth point is it does take persistence. And there's a saying that I've used often in our training that goes like this. It says, that which you persist in doing becomes easier. It's not that your task has changed, it's just that your ability to perform it has increased. And so if you will put your toe in the water and start to consider this idea of adding online selling, I think you'll find that it'll offer you some tremendous advantages. And again, it doesn't have to be where you become like some of the success stories where all they do is online selling. That would be wonderful for you to achieve those goals. But even if you incorporate this just into your business, that enables you under certain circumstances to have these tools available to you, I think you'll find that you'll probably increase your activity. And certainly we know at the end of the day, it's all about results. And those who are using online selling are achieving tremendous results. So we want to thank you for listening. And Mike, if there's questions, we'll take them.
Yes, we will. All right, I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody. And if you have questions, pop your hand, or not pop your hand up, but jump in. If you have not entered in that 2-digit audio PIN code, we will not be able to unmute you. So unfortunately, we can't unmute everybody all at one time. So we have to do this individually. If you have questions, go ahead and jump in, and Dennis will do his best to get you taken care of. Any questions specific to the Connected Agent Program, our online platform, which is whyaim.com, any of those types of things? If you have them, go ahead and jump in so that we can get everybody moving in a direction that they want to be going in. And we would ask folks that we have unmuted, if you've got stuff going on in the background, alarm going off, or tea kettle or dogs, whatever, to go ahead and hit *6 to individually mute yourself so as to not overrun things. So, okay, we've got it all opened up. Anybody out there, go ahead and fire away with your questions.
Hello, yes, I have a question. I was wondering, I'm sorry I got on this a little late, and so to catch up to speed, can I rewatch this webinar?
Yes, we will archive this. We'll archive it. It'll be on our site later today. You can go back to it and watch over anything that you saw that you wanted to maybe take a second look at, any of that kind of stuff. We'll have the audio and the video presentation. Both will be on there. So
okay, audio and video.
And then there was a question about charge for the Connected Agent website if you are working with AIM. I think what Dennis meant to say was actively producing. There's some certain production incentives that have to be met after the Jumpstart period. The Jumpstart period is 6 months. It's $199 to get you going, get everything taken care of. And during that, once you've completed that, you have to be producing $2,500 of annualized either long-term care or CI premium per quarter, or $5,000 of MedSup premium per quarter. So
the bar is pretty low.
Yeah, bar is very low. Dennis, there is a question here about telephone leads having a higher drop-off rate, especially in final expense.
Yeah, talking about telephone leads,
Yes.
internet leads, or leads that are generated. Is the question, do they have a higher drop-off?
More or less, that's what they're asking about. Drop-off rate with regard to final expense in particular.
I'm not sure, Mike, if I'm understanding the question as far as how they're procuring the lead. Are they talking about the lead being through an internet lead that you're contacting the individual by phone?
No, it's not internet lead. It'd be direct mail.
Oh, direct mail lead. Oh, yes. Yeah. I would say that's probably accurate. You know, Final Expense is one of those products that has been, the mainstay as far as those who've sold it successfully have really done that on a face-to-face type of a basis of taking those lead cards and actually working that face-to-face. I think one of the advantages that you have with some of the carriers that we have in our space is that we also have a guaranteed issue Final Expense, which could be more attractive than some of what's out there in the marketplace, and that may help to reduce some of that fall off if you can advertise that ability to service that particular product. But I think that's probably a fair statement historically, at least. Going forward, probably with more acceptance, maybe that will change. But face-to-face has always been really where the sweet spot has been for Final Expense.
Yeah, good point. As I said before, as you can hear from the background, if you know that you have noise kind of in the background, you don't have a question, you're just listening in, please hit *6 to individually mute your phone. That said, any other questions? Okay, well, I think we'll take that as a job well done. Again, if you want to hear the presentation again, we'll have it archived and up on our website under News and Events within a couple of hours. Okay, we'll get that taken care of for you. If you would like to have a copy of the PowerPoint presentation, you can email me, Mike.Anderson, S-O-N, @whyaim.com. Shoot me an email. We'll get a copy of the slides over to you so you can refer back to those as well. All right, one more time for any questions. Okay. We'll consider that a job well done. Dennis, thanks. Everybody, thanks for your time out there. We appreciate it. Let us know if there's anything we can do to try to help you out. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.